Hello, and welcome to the Old Man Orange Podcast, a place where we can talk about movies, comics, video games, and some other stuff. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan. Dunigan. I forgot. Oh, right. You gotta look at the last name. I
just go
that.
by Ryan now.
Yeah.
Because there's nobody else out there called just Ryan.
Yeah, there's no last name or middle name anymore.
What if there is just a person out there who's just named, my name's just Ryan? Like, you know their names? No. It's like Cher, but...
Well, good thing I corrected it, because he's probably going around like Highlander, like cutting people's heads off. There can be only one, you know? We one singular Ryan.
One Ryan. And I want to say this really quickly. We got a new Drunk Batman episode out right now. It'll be Drunk Batman Robin, the animated series, episode 4. That should be out.
Is it? I guess it is episode 4.
Yeah, it's episode 4.
We work on these things for so long. It's kind of like, is this like number 30? Oh no, it's 4. Shit.
It's 4. No, it's podcast number 41, but it's only episode 4 of the animated thing.
Yeah. Well, anyway. So I guess today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about... Today's the first of the year. So figure we just talk about our favorite movies of the year. Because I can't think of any particular comic book that's coming out anytime soon that I really want to read. Nor can I think of a movie coming out anytime soon. It's like, oh...
No. We're going to be overloaded with movies pretty soon. This is just a dry week. Because next week is when Gangster Squad comes out.
Oh, right.
And then the next week after that is...
Arnold.
Arnold's movie comes out. And then the week after that, something else comes out, too. So,
there's probably some comics or some CD that comes out between that time.
Hollywood has gave us things to do.
So, anyway. Can I see the list there for a second?
Yeah, you can look at the list if you want.
Yeah.
So, start from the back. Make sure you don't spoil it at the beginning.
Don't spoil it. Number 1 is... Okay, I'm just joking.
So we're going to do like a top 10 countdown kind of thing. Talk about these movies. Some of these movies we've already done podcasts on before. That doesn't mean we can't just keep talking about it because it's been a while since we've seen these movies a couple of times.
Been a while since I could do a podcast again.
But
that won't happen again. I'm sorry. No. There's no singing state on this podcast anymore.
So should we just start off the list and go with what the first one is?
All right, first one is, a few of these are actually ones one or two of these we did a podcast on, but we actually lost the file. Actually, it wasn't so much we lost the file as much as it wasn't recording the whole fucking time.
It recorded 2.5 minutes or something.
Yeah. So there's the greatest podcast that will never happen. So anyway, our number 10, Looper.
Yeah, Looper. That was a pretty good one. I like that one quite a bit.
I like that one. It was like most of these movies I've only seen them like once.
Some of these movies haven't even come out yet. I don't think Looper has. If it did come out, it just came out.
Yeah, it came out today actually.
Oh, so yeah. So literally, if it did come out, it just came out.
I just that one was just sum it up pretty quickly. I just thought it was a very when you say the premise, he has to go back in time and kill himself. It sounds retarded, but it actually turned out being a really good movie.
Well, sometimes retarded premises are sometimes the best, I think.
Retarded premises, if you can work around it and actually make it really good, because it just sounds stupid. It just sounds kind of like just a cheesy joke right there. He's got to kill himself. But really, it actually panned out being a really good movie. And it was different from most science fiction films I've seen in a while. It was a good alternative science fiction film.
One of the things I like about it is I was glad it was rated R. Because that was one of those movies for the longest time I didn't know if it was going to be R or PG-13.
And sometimes that could like make or break something like that. Cause seeing the trailer, I'm like, it looks like it might be a PG. It's kind of weird how something like that can almost change it. Because if that came out being like PG-13, it looked like it could be a very forgettable movie.
It probably wouldn't be on our list.
Yeah, but then like
it would end up like the new Total Recall. Not even an honorable mention.
Yeah. We got a somewhat mention,
Oh,
mention, but not an honorable mention.
I just got to mention. I mean,
a dishonorable mention.
It was good. Well, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't amazing.
It wasn't the Arnold one.
And it wasn't rated R.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell. I mean, he tried his best.
He did it.
It's okay. Colin Farrell's still here.
He's still here somewhere. We'll save that for later. Anyway, so there's Looper. Then we come to Expendables 2.
Which this movie I really liked a lot. This is one of my favorite movies. I know there's people out there who I think they just don't like action movies, or they don't like classic action when we say that, or action is what I call when there's just constant action going on, explosions and gunfire and fighting and
fucking.
Yeah, fucking most likely somewhere along the movie, and then an explosion happens over it.
Yeah.
Or they bust into a room and there's just two people fucking, and it's just like there's two big guys fighting now.
Yeah. Well, the fucking still happens. Yeah. No, this movie right here, I thought this one was good because it just kind of like fixed all the problems with the first Expendables, which was just like we said it before. I'll just say it again real quickly. The first problem with the first Expendables is it just focused on Stallone and Statham. There's like a 20-minute period where no one's really fighting, nothing's really happening.
And then if you watch the director's cut once again, as much as I mentioned this, that actually makes that movie feel a lot more smoother too. Anyways, You watch that one; it's just got some ad scenes in it. Just kind of that one actually makes it. When I watched the director's cut, I was like, "Oh, this does feel more well-rounded out."
And then, but the one with this one is everybody was in the movie consistently.
Except for Jet Li.
Jet Li.
He's still got. I mean, like I understand that you can't always be there. So I mean, at least he got a pretty good action scene.
Jackie Chan's gonna be in the third one.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That was like on our list for like who should be in the next one.
I hope Tony Jaa's in it. You know, that'd be pretty cool.
That'd be cool. Probably yeah. If Jackie Chan's in, that'd be really. I just really think if Clint Eastwood just had a cameo, it doesn't be more than anything, but just.
They're
a cameo.
talking about a cameo.
Yeah, no, they mentioned it.
Yeah. And then, so that was pretty good. And then there's also something else. I think you're saying a lot of people don't like action movies. I think a lot of it, I mean, I liked the movie. A lot of people are complaining about, like, oh, it's the same old thing. It's still being intentionally cheesy. It's being, well, you don't really go to every movie looking for enlightenment or looking for some, like, new thing. I mean, sometimes you just want, like, explosions and action. It doesn't always have to be, I mean, and those guys know how to do it right. These guys who actually kind of like, started that genre, really.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, though. It's like, these are the kind of, when I say people don't like action, these are the kind of people that wouldn't go see a martial arts movie. They wouldn't go see a Rambo movie. They wouldn't go see an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. But they go to see these movies and then they go to complain. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like going to a restaurant with the food you don't like, but you keep going there and you keep complaining. It's like, just don't go.
Yeah.
Or don't say anything. Yeah. If you don't like it, whatever. If you don't like sushi, you don't have to make a big deal about it. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I like that one quite a bit.
Pretty good flick. Then we come to our number 8, Prometheus.
And this is another movie I thought was just full on amazing. I really think like by the second time watching it, I think it's really high. I mean, close to. I mean, it's got a couple little like imperfections in it, and those actually make it more funny in my opinion. Like just the weird story like plot holes in it.
Just the things like we've only been here for 4 hours. We haven't found any aliens. Fuck this place. I'm done. It's like. We took like 8 years to get here. Don't give a shit. No aliens. Fucking done.
Even though like the more
fuck space.
The more I watch it, like the couple more times I've watched it though, some of those things they kind of like go, oh, I kind of get it a little bit more this time because that part's like he was just bummed that they just found corpses. He was like he didn't want to.
He doesn't know that. They could have looked a few more hours the next day and found a living alien. They know that there's an alien out there.
If I can't fuck an alien, this trip was not worth the 3 fucking years in hypersleep.
Time to go home. My dick is soft.
At least there they got goats I can fuck.
The guy who's fucking like what's her name?
Noomi Rapace or whatever.
Naomi Rapace,
the girl from the Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah, that girl. Yeah, damn. But no, it's like you got Naomi Rapace. Why'd you want to go fuck a goat? The goat was practiced for fucking an alien.
It was weird and kind of hairy
and kind of confusing, but
that's what I assumed having sex with an alien would be.
Yeah. But you got handlebars.
Still, the part that makes me laugh the most in that movie though is the Noomi Rapace or whatever I can't know how you pronounce her name. It's really weird. It's Swedish, but like way out there Swedish, not like Peter Swedish or something like that. My favorite part is she's this girl who has like this. She's like the only character in the future that has a little bit of faith, and she carries this cross on her. So she's about the only like Christian in space. But the second that there's a foreign object in her body, she runs to the only machine she knows that can give her an abortion.
She wants a good old-fashioned space abortion.
That's always how it is.
They had to work.
You may be Christian, but the second you realize you're pregnant, it's time for an abortion.
And they had to stop and be like, they had that machine. Like, you can't, it's not made for like women. It's not made for like giving birth or anything like that.
Well, that was weird. So, that the machine was made for a man. Why did like the Gwyneth Paltrow character or whatever? That was her, right?
No, it wasn't Gwyneth Paltrow. It was Charlize Theron.
Yeah, Charlize Theron. I don't know, I got this confused. But why would she spend all this money on a machine that was made for a man? Is she a man?
I think more than anything, it's one of those plot hole gaps. I think like, all right, so we don't have to go on fucking
the abortion thing.
So we don't have to go on fucking the O'Reilly factor and explain to Bill O'Reilly why we felt the need to put abortion in this movie. It's gonna be a machine not made for man, and she jerry rigs it to get this thing out of her. I think it's one of those. And it's an alien, so it's not in God's eye, so it's okay.
The only person's gonna know if she's a man or a woman is the black guy.
Oh yeah, it's true. Because they fuck each other. I forgot about that. I like that one part. He's all like. He's like, what the fuck is that? Like, it's an accordion belonging to Stephen Stills. It's like, who's that? Just like a little nods like that.
Yeah, he's like, you'd fucking know. The captain of the ship. Clearly, I got a lot of free time to look shit up.
Just listen to like Buffalo, like Springfield and shit. And then
that's what that kind of guy is. Like once he's done flying, it's just kind of like he's hanging out.
Yeah. Well, no, he's just kind of there. The captain was one of my favorite characters. Just,
No, that's one of the best characters in it.
One of the worst characters, though, is the fucking, like... There's the guy...
I'm a geologist.
Yeah, he's like, say that, like, there's a guy with, like, the red dreadlocks, tattoos down his face. Like, oh, this guy...
Mohawk.
It was Mohawk, or they had, like, dreadlocks kind of thing, like...
No, it's like he had like a mohawk and he had tattoos on the side of his head.
And he's just sitting there with his arms crossed, like boot heels on the back of a chair. Like at some point this guy's gonna go crazy and fucking kill people. Which happens
I'm not here to make friends.
Yeah, which happens to a degree. Which happens when he gets infected by a zombie thing. But what happened? He's all like, I'm not here to make friends. Like, oh, you don't want to fuck with this guy. Geologist! It's like, what?
I'm here to study rocks.
Yeah. And as soon as things go bad, he's the one...
I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and the thing, the logic gaps in it, it's more like the part where, okay, we got these guys. I mean, I'm not trying to, like, nitpick, but it's one of those things. We could get out of this jam at this day and age. Why can't they get out of it, like, 200 years in the future or whatever, whenever this takes place?
It actually isn't even that far in the future, too, strange enough. I think it's only, like 100 years in the future, if
really?
Not less. Which seems kind of weird because that technology feels like, I don't know. I'd be really surprised if we got that good of technology in 100 years. That's why I always feel like when you make a sci-fi thing, make it like 500 years, like where it's like, because that's
people won't give a shit.
That's like how Halo is. It's like 2,500 and something. It's like that makes sense because by that point, like. Who's gonna complain that time? Oh man, I've been waiting 500 fucking years to see, so I can fucking do like the Middle East battle in space.
The Middle East battle. It's kind of is. Halo, when you think about it, is kind of like the space. It's space Republicans versus space terrorists when it gets right down to it.
I'm gonna kill some space camel jockeys.
Well, aren't they like generally? Aren't the Covenant? Aren't they like all like a religious group?
Yeah, they're like a religious group.
And then I read the first Halo book, well, the first one like a long time ago. I barely remember, but I remember they're like kidnapping kids and like they put clones in the kids' place and they're raising those kids to be Spartans. Like, it's okay, we need this. It's perfectly fine,
It's America.
Yeah, but but back to fucking Prometheus. What was I gonna say? No, but there's the part where they get lost in a little like labyrinth thing. It's like, how do we get out of here? We're lost. Like, and they have those guys on a little like hologram map telling them where they're at. Mm-hmm. Which I think is funny about that part because the black dude, I think he may have
it's the geologist guy, the guy who created the fucking hologram thing. Is the guy that's lost.
Yeah.
Oh, and even though I work on maps, I'm not very good at reading them.
I was getting me tattoos done during that part of the course. No, that's the part where because they have those guys on a GPS thing and they somehow get lost, but they know exactly where those guys are at, but they don't know. They don't have some kind of fucking thing to relay that information. Just one of those like little like minor gaps. But I thought it was fucking hilarious when the captain was in there and he was looking at him and he. Hmm?
Hey.
Hey.
I'm gonna run into town.
Oh, okay.
Laura's going, yeah, I'm out of here.
Yeah, well, we're just doing a podcast.
Okay. I gotta run into the auto parts store and I'm gonna go to the market.
Okay, back from the intermission. Prometheus,
all right.
Okay, but what were we talking about again in that movie? Something about Captain.
What? The captain? What? I fucking forgot.
See, when people walk in the room, you get confused what just happened.
Yeah.
So, for some reason, when you're doing a podcast, somebody walks in the room, it's like they just walked in on you and you're like sacrificing a goat and you're kind of like,
It's like they walked in you in the middle of like you're jerking off or something.
On that goat. You're the guy from Prometheus, you just have the goat around. You're like, I'm practicing for aliens.
No, it was...
But here, what happens about Prometheus, though, it's like, for some reason it felt like, yeah, our number 8 pick. But let's nitpick it. No, but it's just one of those movies, like, I just think that, like, one, I love how it's actually a real sci-fi movie. Because it's just one of those ones you don't, like, everything, it's like, sadly enough, The Matrix, one of the best movies ever, it created this kind of, like, horrible follow-up genres where, like, everything had to be action sci-fi.
Yeah.
Which, that's not a bad thing. There's a good place for that, but I miss the old days of just when you see space and it's like, well, and there's the ships flying, and you really get a look at the atmosphere and see crap that you don't normally see.
Well, the first part of that movie was very much just kind of like,
space opera.
It's amazing, and then the last part's like, space, it's fucked up,
And that's what I mean. Like, it's like I just kind of liked how it was a full-on sci-fi movie. I think the visuals are fantastic. Even though like some of the characters like it made it funny, like those plot holes, but it makes it really enjoyable. Mm-hmm. I don't know. And the more times I watch it, the more I like it.
Yeah.
There's a couple scenes that they put out, like when you get like the Blu-ray or whatever. Mm-hmm. like you see some of these alternate takes, and you're like, I don't know why they didn't put that in there. That would have made a lot more sense. Mm-hmm. But other than that, though, I still think it's a really good movie. I really like it a lot.
Yeah, same here. Then we move on to, a lot of people will probably be surprised this one's not higher, but number 7, Dark Knight Rises.
And this movie, it's one of those ones, like, don't get me wrong, I really like it. Every single time I watch it, I enjoy it. It's just one of those ones, as a Batman fan, I can point out, like, 12 other Batman movies in my collection that are way better than this one. You know what I mean?
I don't know about 12.
I don't know. I own, like, I looked at my Batman. I own 18 Batman movies. These aren't even, like, animated show ones. These are all, they're animated, but they're, like, the feature-length movie ones.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those ones, like, I don't know, it's just Under the Red Hood. I don't know. I like that one more. I was watching a couple of those, like, the Batman Mr. Freeze one was pretty good. I don't know if that one. But the Mask of the Phantasm.
Return of the Joker was really good, too.
Yeah, Return of the Joker is not really good. I mean, I could really just sit there. I got quite a bit ones I really like. I mean, even just Batman Begins, Dark Knight.
Yeah.
But Dark Knight Rises was still really good, though. I mean, as far as a movie, it's got some weird things in it. And actually, the more I watch it, I keep noticing, the movie seems like such an anti-socialist movie the more you watch it. Because you just get baited like, well, we're here for you people, so you can be free from all this. Yeah. It's just like, no. Get those police officers out there. Make sure they're beating down anybody who's trying to
they're just using that as a front because they were planning to destroy the
city.
Well,
they're planning to destroy the city, but that's just kind of how it comes across, though. It's just like, we have this fantastic, like, energy thing that can power everything. It's like, it's not environmentally harmful or anything like that. This great thing. No, keep it underground. There's something wrong with it.
We'll leave it alone for now. I know we spent billions of dollars on this thing.
Bruce, you don't really want to make money off this. No, I mean, like, I understand that's like, yeah, it's got a nuclear device pretty much in it that, you know, it's not that hard to pop out. You just need Morgan Freeman to come up and put his hand on it.
Yeah. No. It's a good movie. It's like, I mean, there's a few plot holes in it. Like, we've talked about this movie to death.
We said too much about this movie. So to sum it up quickly, if there was just more Batman and not 2 Risings, I think it'd just be a lot more better, or a lot more better.
Lots of better good fun.
If more Batman was punching people in faces on costume on. But no, other than that, though, I mean, it still is a really
Scott Holmes just says that, like, in quotes on the back of the box. More Batman punching people in faces of bad people.
With costume on.
Yeah.
But no, it's like once if it just kind of had... Actually, I'm not gonna. Let's say about the good stuff. I don't know what we're talking about. We already mentioned the nitpicking of it.
The good thing is, I thought they did a good job because Bane was a character I never really cared a whole lot for. Not that I hated him.
Bane's a pretty cool character though in the comics, though. Like
he's not like a character that he was. I never thought of it.
Series.
He's never really a bad character in my opinion.
I just like the concept of the character. It's just like he's in jail, so what is it? He's almost like Malcolm X, except for the fact Malcolm X didn't get really big and buff. But like he's in jail, so what does he do? He utilizes everything he has there. So he's gonna learn as much information as he possibly can by reading every book. He learns like 6 or 7 languages, and then he works out like to become the perfect being of mind and body. I just think that concept's really cool.
It's a cool concept. He's just one of the, as far as I know he comes back here and there. He's not a heavily reoccurring character.
I guess because he's only in it. He's only been Batman for like 20 years. When you really look at it.
Well, he's not a heavily reoccurring character. I mean, he comes and goes, but he's not like somebody who's always there. So yeah, I guess I don't have as much to draw from. I mean, I have the Nightfall. I have the whole Nightfall arc of Batman, but and I like. I mean, he's not a bad character. I mean, he's just not a favorite character of mine. But I thought this movie did a really good job of just like taking the really really cool qualities about him and bringing them into the screen.
The more I watch it, the more I think it's like, no, it's actually a pretty good thing. I still think he should be a little bit more buff. I wish somebody like would have. I don't know. This day and age,
inject Tom Hardy with steroids or something.
Well, this day and age, when we got all these trainers, like, what? Just get Lou Ferrigno to come in there and train him. I mean, come on. Because that's the only thing is Tom Hardy. It's like he's big, but he's not like. I just feel like if he's gonna be Bane, he's got to be like that ridiculous buff where it's just like he's just humongous. Because that's like the main thing that makes it like that's the reason why Batman got his back broken is this guy is just so ridiculously big and strong.
And something that I thought
like kind of the way they made him like Arkham City, even though he's like maybe not
he's like a monster in like Arkham
not
City.
Necessarily that big buff, but just like where he's
like Hulk in Arkham City.
Yeah, really just make him like Lou Ferrigno like in 1970. Well, actually Lou Ferrigno nowadays he's still buff.
Yeah,
but yeah, something like that. Like fucking the Hulk would have been.
Get the Hulk. Just put the Hulk in a mask.
Yeah, just put Lou Ferrigno in there.
And it's something I thought that was actually they did pretty good with the movie was actually a lot of people complain about Catwoman. I liked Catwoman. I mean, they never actually call her Catwoman, but I thought it was interesting how the way they went about her instead of her making like be the same thing we've seen over and over, or people try to make over and over. They actually based her off the I don't remember the actress's name, but the actress that Bob Kane based Catwoman off of originally, and she went off that. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. I do think that her costume could have been a little bit... She should have had, like, a cowl, because, I don't know, when you just have, like...
There's variations.
For women characters, like a mask just doesn't work. I don't know, because it's like, how can you not tell that's not that chick?
I get that, but I think it's more than anything, it was more like... It was her being more cocky and more very... Like, no one ever
like,
sees
she should have just
away.
had, like, a full covering mask, I think. Instead of just having just, like, the goggles and the mask, and that was it.
There's been like variations.
Well, no.
where
There's been ones like that, but I just don't think for on screen it just doesn't look very like I don't know. How can you not tell that's her? Like between Selena.
We're still nitpicking at it.
I know. I guess that's real. We just make a list where we can just like nitpick movies that are in our top favorites, though.
Our favorites, we just like to kick the shit out of them like a blind child that doesn't know what's going on.
Well,
I got a little dark there for a second.
That's another round of dark.
Then we move to our number 6.
Which is 007 Skyfall. Which this one I can't really nitpick too much about. I actually really like this one quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I thought this was a great... I can nitpick about the one previous to it. But I thought it was a great step in 007. I just think that it did something new while doing something classic at the same time. And I really like that. And plus that ending scene that was like a fucking Western movie pretty much.
Yeah.
In Scotland.
And kind of like Home Alone at the same time.
Yeah.
Home Alone of Death.
Yeah, like Home Alone of like... Now I just picture Bond like in Home Alone, but like Bond as a child, like James Bond Jr.
Like fucking I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on his name. Goodfellas. Joe Pesci?
Oh, Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci's trying to break into the house with that.
Like,
We're gonna get you, 007. You know,
Junior.
Yeah. I'd see that.
The guy from Bushwhacked. I forgot what that guy's name is.
No one remembers that guy. He was in.
Nobody probably remembers Bushwhacked either.
He was in Bushwhacked. He was in
That was a great
both Home
movie.
Alone films, and he was also in Very Bad Things. I think it was. That
He was
more
also in.
darker film.
He's in
a lot of '90s.
He's in that movie
comedies.
Born in East L.A. with Cheech.
I never seen that one.
It's where Cheech is. He's born in East L.A. But he gets
Really?
He gets like he goes over to Mexico, but he can't get back to the United States. But he's an American citizen. So like, and for some reason that guy is living in Mexico, like, and he owns a bar. It's actually
Joe Pesci's friend?
yeah, the guy from Bushwhacked, whatever that
Okay.
guy's name is.
Yeah.
That's a pretty funny movie though. With Cheech. Well, it's Cheech. How can it not be funny?
Okay. I'll keep my eye out for that
Cheech.
one.
How can it not be funny?
Could be like Cheech Marin's tagline for any movie he's in.
But no, I really like that. A lot of things about Skyfall. I mean, they're kind of trying to make a lot of characters black, which seems just kind of like, I mean, like in a like bad way, but it's like, okay, Moneypenny's gonna be black now, and so is Felix. I don't know. It feels like a little too much, like changing every character into being a black character. I don't know. At least M
There's
goes
two
back
of
to
them.
being a man. I like that.
There's 2 of them though that I mean they're not like really. I mean if it was going as far as my opinion, it's kind of like they're saying Jamie Foxx is going to play Electro in the next Spider-Man. With me, I'm actually cool with that. If it's like because Electro. If you know you're Spider-Man, you know him. But he's not really, like, an iconic character, say, like Spider-Man or Superman. So it's one of those things that it doesn't bother me too much.
I guess it's just to me, it's just
I
one
mean,
of
it's
those
not,
ones, like,
he's not my first choice, but I'm cool with that.
I
Plus,
just
we
feel
already
it's like
got
those ones just like I don't know.
90% of characters in comic books are white anyway. So
Well, just means like just make a new character. If you're gonna have a black character, just make him a new person. Like don't make him just the same person. Just make him somebody different. Like I'd rather have that.
I don't know. I guess this is bother me. Like when they made whatchamacallem, when they made Kingpin black in Daredevil, that didn't bother me because Michael Clark Duncan did a great job as Kingpin, I thought.
Yeah, that's one of the few
And
ones I
that's-
feel like that's okay. Strangely enough, I mean, I remember when I originally watched it, I was like, "Why is he black?" But I like Michael Clark. Duncan.
It's more like I think I think it's more insulting if it's something like Wild Wild West, which I'm not gonna pretend I'm not gonna pretend like I'm the hugest fan of the original TV show, but I know he wasn't Will Smith going damn and what. I know he wasn't doing that. I know they weren't doing that in the original show.
Well, yes,
and
I think that's just where it just kind of comes. It's just one of those ones like I don't know. To me, I just find it like.
I think that there's like
If that is what the character is, just kind of leave them as what they are. I
mean,
think some things can change.
like this goes back to Will Smith, like the I Am Legend. That one
Yeah,
right
see,
there.
like that one.
That works fine.
That's not
because
too bad. I mean, like.
skin color wasn't a very important part of that story, so that's not saying it always is, but
No, it's not like that. It's more just when there's a character that's kind of like a name brand character and you're changing it. It's just kind of like, okay.
I guess it doesn't bother me as long as they don't make him like a stereotype of some sort. You know what I mean? As long as
it just, I guess the main reason I complain about this is it just comes across to me. It's just like
And
almost like they're forcing it in as the black character. Like yo, we need a black character in here. Put him in there quickly.
Well, I guess...
And it's just, to me, it's just one of those ones like, it's 007. We all know that white people watch 007. 007 is like one of like the main like white people heroes out there.
Well, neither
Have you ever seen Live and Let Die? That is where you realize that Bond is the whitest person in the world.
I think it's funny, of all the black characters in that, the most toned down one is the guy with the robot hand. But
Well, there's a line where the black guy sounds like, he doesn't sound black at all, because he's like,
honky on your left. Yeah. No, but the thing about 007 though, the black thing, that doesn't really bother me as long as they don't make them like stereotypes, and as long as it's not.
I guess this was one thing. If you've been watching the movies for the last like 40 years, it's just one of those ones. Just like it's like I don't know. It just seems weird.
Lawrence Fishburne's gonna be playing. Not even talking about 007, just talking about like ethnicity role. Lawrence Fishburne's gonna be playing Perry White in the upcoming Superman film, which I'm fine with that because that's like a character.
I guess that's still all those ones. It's just like to me, it comes across as reverse racism.
But how many people go in saying, "Oh, I can't wait to see Perry White in the Superman movie"?
Well, I don't mean like that. It's just one of those ones like by changing that, it's just one of those ones like I just call that's like reverse racism, where you're not fixing racism, you're just trying to do it like. Well, no. We'll make this guy black right now. See, you guys will be happy now. And it just comes across like a white person.
You got Superman. What better credit can you have to your race?
Well, no, I mean, Superman's technically like not white. He's like alien. But...
he's alien, but he's fucking white.
He's disguised as white. But no, it's just what I mean though. It's just I don't know. That always kind of bothers me in movies. Just like I rather just have them like have them have original character. Don't just like. I just feel like that's the half-assed way to put a black.
I know what you mean. It kind of goes both ways. I get what you're
mean?
saying. Yeah. But it's just, I guess to me, it's just one of those things. As long as it's not like the main character or like one of the flagship characters, I'm all right with it. As long as they change them, they don't make them into like just a stereotype, and that goes for any race on that one.
Yeah, well, it's like they never really make them into stereotypes. They always mostly make them into just like a white person that's black. So it always seems like, or at least in a Bond movie, that's how it always comes across. The thing is that when everybody's English, they always just sound like white people. Yeah.
Well, I thought they did a good. I thought the guy that played Felix and the girl that played Moneypenny, I thought they were actually pretty good.
I mean, they're not bad, but it's just one of those ones. I guess just as a fan, it's just one of those ones. You're just kind of like, oh, well, I mean, like, yeah, they did a fine job. It just seems kind of weird. I don't know. I always just feel it's plugged in there, not just like like oh, she just happened to be the best actress. It's just like no, we need a black person, put her in there. Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of how it is.
You want to now we're jumping on to Dredd, our number 5.
Number 5, and I thought this movie really blew me away more than like.
And I guess this is where I'm looking at this list of movies as we go up. I can't really find anything to complain about. So hopefully, because I'll be honest, it sounds like we don't like these movies. We really like these movies. I guess we're just negative. I guess we're just a bunch of negative assholes, and we just could find anything to bitch about. But no, Dredd though, I can't really think of anything to complain about Dredd. Really,
no, Dredd is one of those movies. It's like, and that's the thing is when you can't complain about anything, it's hard to talk about it. It's just like amazing, action, bottle film, did it right. Kept the mask on the whole time. Yeah.
And you hear some people say, like, what the fuck's Dredd doing so high up on that list? Well, a lot of people, I think that they take, like this kind of goes back to the Expendables. I think that Dredd is just one of those movies. It's just like, if you go in there, self-aware, you're just going to watch an action film. Just take it at that. Just an action film. And it's really done very well. It's fun. It's fast-paced.
Like, if you're going into a movie, that's the problem I always have with a lot of critics, is that a lot of critics, they judge movies not as they always judge them against the drama. Whether it's a comedy, horror, or action, they're always judged against the drama. And it's like, well, no, a drama is completely different from an action, completely different from a comedy, and completely different from like a horror.
We judge it. How long does he keep the bat suit on? But yeah.
Well, yeah.
I'm just joking. I'm just.
Well,
joking.
that's because that
I know. I'm just joking. But no, this
that
one
really keeps it from being action. You know what I mean?
No, but this one right here was actually. I really can't think of anything. This is almost kind of where the podcast is going to run out of steam because
to me this movie comes like it comes out like in a week or two or something like that on DVD. And until I watch it a couple more times though, at the moment it stands to me when I just think of it. I just think of it like a 4 out of 4 movie. I can't think of anything wrong with it, and it's just pure perfect. Just about. I mean, obviously if you watch a movie enough, you're always going to see the small minor things. And I never like when you're nitpicking a movie, I never consider that like bringing it down. It's just like you're just kind of looking at things.
Yeah.
But no, it's just that movie. Everything was great about it. The action was good. The acting was great. The story was good. It felt very Dredd-like. I don't know. I really liked it a lot. Hopefully, they can able to make another one off that.
They said it's very unlikely because this movie made no money.
Yeah, that's the sad thing. Is movies like this don't make money, which is.
I think this is gonna be a movie that gets a big cult following over the next couple of years, and maybe.
No, I think these the kind of movies like they make their money. It's they're
not right away.
Yeah, it's not like an Avengers that's gonna make just like all its money like day one. They're like the kind of movies like it's gonna take like 5 years, but most movies get their money back in the long run. There's very few movies that don't.
All right, so I guess now we move on to number 4, which I guess this is primarily me talking about this because you didn't see this movie.
Yeah, I never got to see Cloud Atlas yet.
So number 4, as you just heard, Cloud Atlas, which I actually talked about this on the Lost Podcast. Because the Lost Podcast, there's another movie, it's actually... We'll save it for then, but we talked about 2 movies where I talked about Cloud Atlas, and we both talked about this other movie we both just saw. Cloud Atlas, I just thought this movie was all around just totally awesome because... I mean, it's not a movie you could just throw on at watch at any point, because it's like...
That's not a lot, because it's more drama-oriented, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's very...
It's action?
Well, it's everything. That's the thing about Cloud Atlas. You have a story, because there's, I think, 7 stories in the movie, 6 or 7 stories, and they're all a different genre. You got one that's like a cyberpunk one. You got like it's a cyberpunk, like kind of like fight for your freedom type story. We got one that's like a dystopian future that's kind of like all like, you know, the people like running away from like cannibals and all that. You got one that's a comedy that's about some old people trying to get out of like this retirement home and kind of like a Ocean's 11 type heist. Not that elaborate, but just something around that kind of line. Just a funny British comedy about these people trying to escape. Then you got one about some old-timey, like, mid-1800s people on a boat. Somebody's dying. He befriends. It's kind of a whole, like, it's a whole more, like, moral, like, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's kind of like a more of a morality type story about, like, a guy befriending a slave. And, like, the slave sticks up for this guy. So this guy, when push comes to shove, he has to stand up for this slave. You got I only saw the movie once, and it was really good.
Does that movie come out pretty soon on DVD?
I'm assuming it comes out very soon. And then
there's... That came out 3 months ago or so, 4 or 5 months ago?
Something like that. And then there's another story that... I'm trying to count them down. There's one that takes place in the 70s, which is kind of like a cop mystery type drama. And then there's the 6th story, which I guess maybe it is only 6 stories. And then that one, there's... what's going on is... What was that one? That one, what's happening is there's a... Shit, I'm getting all mixed up because the thing is, the story.
Well, yeah, it's those movies. It seems like a movie you have to see. It's like The Matrix.
I remember now. No, it's about like a gay guy in the 40s who's a wanted criminal to a certain extent.
Because he's gay.
Well, not just that, but he's just kind of he's not exactly. It's not exactly smiled upon during back in the 40s, but. He's trying to compose some music, and he's in a long distance relationship with this other guy who actually comes back into their story and plays a big part. And he's writing letters to him, and he's trying. And the thing is, each one of these has a story that kind of leads on to the next story in some way. Like something from one story leads into another. Like for instance, that guy the story about the old man trying to break out of an old person's home. He writes a book, and a movie gets made off that book. In the cyberpunk story, there's this chain of there's this fast food chain where they clone
that's the one where everybody looks Asian or whatever.
Yeah, they clone people to be servers and waitresses and all that. And she sees this movie or part of this movie where about like defending for your rights, standing up for yourself, and that's
like a Beastie Boys music video.
You gotta fight for your.
Look, it just changes everything.
Because she says a line like. I will not be, because she has a really thick accent. She's like, I will not be like a source for amusement or something like around those lines. She's like, I gotta fight for my right to party. This movie would get out.
That's not what we're cloning you for, so watch MTV, you fuck.
Yeah. So, and then, well, actually, I should jump back to the story with the gay guy real quick. He's actually trying to compose some music. He's trying to become like the next biggest composer, and he's working for he's working for this crusty old fuck who's a musical genius but a real prick, and he's kind of like very like critical. He's like, I just came out with this new song. He's like, oh, it's our song, we worked on it together. It's like, no, he didn't. Like, you're fucking gay and you're a wanted man. I say we worked on this shit together. So it's kind of like, yeah,
I'll let you fuck me in that closet back there, but we're not talking about that.
Well, plus other characters like reoccur throughout this movie. Like Halle Berry at one point plays a white chick.
Does Tom Hanks play a black chick?
Tom Hanks doesn't play a black chick. Hugo Weaving plays a chick.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that.
And then Hugo Weaving and Hugh Grant always play bad guys in each story. Tom Hanks sometimes plays a bad guy, sometimes he plays a good guy. It's kind of this whole karma kind of thing going on. Plus, you really see Tom Hanks' character act in this movie. You see him playing kind of like a Cockney, like bare knuckle boxer type brawler. Like
That's cool.
There's a part in the movie where it's one of the funniest parts of the movie. It's really dark, but it's just fucking hilarious to me. Where he goes and he says he just got his autobiography published and he's so proud of it, but some like snobby critic just like shit all over it. Mm-hmm. They're at some publishing party and he's like the guy's just all talking shit like, oh yeah, well you just talking mad shit to Tom Hanks. So what's Tom Hanks do? He grabs him, runs to the edge, just throws him off right in the middle of this party. You see the dude go to the ground and splat, and then he just goes to the bar. Everyone's all scared of him. He says like, tequila, and he's just kind of in like from there on in like his book sells like incredibly overnight.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. He goes to jail, but
when was the last time Tom Hanks had a really big movie? I mean, I know he's been out in a couple movies, but it just seems like because he used it for like by the turn of the century, he was just in all those like humongous movies like Saving Private Ryan and Castaway and Forrest Gump.
I think his last big movie before this, I mean, I don't think it was commercially huge, but Charlie Wilson's War or whatever.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was...
And a cameo in The Simpsons?
Yeah, it was like... There we go. There's like, what was Tom Hanks' last big thing? But it just seems like he just hasn't been that movie for a while till this movie where he was just in that thing where it's just like, oh yeah, Tom Hanks, huge movie.
Yeah. And the characters were like certain things like kind of repeat in the story. Things are like... It's a really good movie. I mean, it's not for everybody. Not everybody's going to like this one, but I really like it.
Nor is The Matrix. So.
Yeah. It's nothing like The Matrix, really. I mean, I guess similar themes in a sense, similar themes and ideals. But overall, the movie itself, I mean, you can't really stock it up. You can't really, because this is a real, like, I mean, Matrix it's a thinking man's movie, but at the same time, it's an action film. Anybody can kind of look at that movie and enjoy it. But this one, you really got to be in a certain mindset to watch it. So yeah. I thought it was really awesome.
It's like a 2001 Space Odyssey kind of mindset where, like, you just...
Well, I'd say it's a little bit more faster moving than that, because Space Odyssey, their moments are just like, like, like weird space images for like 10 minutes straight. Like, okay, it's about to end. No. It's still fucking going. And they're like, I kind of want to know what Stanley Kubrick did to make that movie. Just walks into an office. All right, first 45 minutes, fucking monkeys. That's good, Stan. Tell us the rest. Then we were in space.
Space is good. Space is good.
All right, is that it? Yeah, monkeys, then space. That's what we fucking got. We're going on this. It's like, are you serious? Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm serious. I'm Stanley Kubrick, bitch.
I got this fucking book right here. Read it, you dumb fucks.
Yeah, Kubrick out. No, I actually like 2001: Space Odyssey, but it's like
I that special edition one of that. So I've never seen any of the special features because I just got like the older version, like the DVD.
I got the older version of that one, but...
You got the even older version.
Yeah.
You got the one that's like even older than mine, but not by much.
I got like the $5, I got the $5 like discount like rack one. But no,
I think it's like that was like the one I think came out like literally. DVDs came out, that set came out, but they did kind of a crappy like job of like... It looks like it kind of looks like VHSs.
It kind of does, but no, it's Kubrick, so it's good.
Yeah, no, but the quality of the movie's good, it's just the picture quality is kind of like, oh, okay.
But no, it's kind of like a Kubrick film in a sense of it's a very ballsy movie. It's a very different movie. He's trying to make it. They're trying to make you think. They're trying to make you go off in other directions. It's also not just the Wachowskis. It's also the dude who did Run Little Run and Perfume. So it's a really good movie. I highly recommend it. That's my number 4. I know you didn't see it, but I'm hoping I'm not blowing it out of proportion for you. But I think you will like it.
No, I know for a fact. I'm just waiting for it to come out on video now.
Yeah.
But
which I'll probably buy it when it comes out.
Is it that good?
I think so. I mean, it's one of those. I mean, it's probably not like right away when it comes out, but I would like to buy that movie. It's a movie I would like to have in my collection.
Cause I know there's
I just gotta find a fucking place where to put it on my DVD rack because I don't know. Because like I said, it's a drama, it's a mystery, it's a comedy, it's a adventure, it's science fiction.
Movies. I just have a section for Stanley Kubrick.
If you could really almost kind of put this movie like in a if you added like 20 minutes or so to each of these movies, you could have like a very short feature-length film.
For each one?
If you added 20 minutes to each of them, you could have like a short feature-length
film. Well, because the movie itself is about 3 hours long, right?
Like 2 hours and 47.
It makes me wonder, because the nice thing about nowadays is that director's cuts and all that stuff are really like respected now.
Yeah.
You can still make money off of them.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows if like they'll even make like a 3.5 or a 4 hour long version of it.
I'd watch it. I mean, I have to clear my fucking day for it, but I'd watch
ones,
it.
like what I've always said, like when a movie's like really good, I don't mind having a really long version. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like Dances with Wolves. I got the 4 hour version of that. The movie's already amazing at 3 hours, but that extra like hour just makes it so much better.
The Watchmen one.
Yeah, the Watchmen one. That's like 3 hours and 40 minutes for like the ultimate cut. So I don't know. I always say if the movie's good enough, I don't mind how long it goes on.
Yeah. I recommend watching the original. If they do come out with some kind of like 8-hour director's cut, I recommend watching the original cut first. Then, when you have the time, watching the other one.
See, I'm always a person, like, whenever I get movies, I always watch the director's cut first. If I have, say if I've never seen a movie. Like, when I bought American Gangster, the first version I watched was the director's cut one. Just because I always go, like, if I'm only going to watch the movie once, I want to at least know I watched the best version there was.
Well, this isn't even in, like, so much of, like, not every director's cut's always better. Than some cases, like, oh shit, this one. No, I mean there are cases more often than not. I think they are, but every once in a while, it really feels like they just threw deleted scenes.
Well, sometimes there's like the movies that like kind of like just like the deleted scenes. Well, there's like one that's like I will say there's like I have the Mallrats extended edition one. And really, what that one is, it's more just like an alternate version. It's not really like a director's cut or anything like that. It's just like let's put all the scenes we didn't use in and all this other stuff, so it almost changes the movie up a bit because it really feels way different by watching that. Mm-hmm. But I'd still say the regular Mallrats is kind of like the better one. But it's cool to see this other version. Yeah. And so there's some like that are just kind of cool. It's kind of like with Blade Runner. I'm still like, I don't know which one I like more. I actually kind of like the theatrical version, and I like the director's cut just as much.
Well, this dude ain't Ridley. This ain't probably the best example. Because this guy ain't Ridley Scott. He ain't Stanley Kubrick. He ain't the Wachowskis. But I forget his name. I said his name a few times before.
The Underworld movie.
Underworld movie. That one. Because I got the, I bought the... I was young and naive. There's a time where I really looked forward to the Underworld films, and I was in high school. Mm-hmm. And back then it was like, oh, it's like Matrix with vampires. But now it's kind of like, I mean, when you get older, I'm not trying to sound like...
They're not bad,
I'm not trying to sound like a...
They're like those kind of movies like you can watch and you're like, that was enjoyable. Wasn't the worst. Like
you kind of almost look at it, you see a math equation when you watch it. But,
yeah.
I got the director's cut to that, and I was watching it. It was just kind of...
yeah, I think you explained this one before, too.
It was just like a...
It was just the deleted scenes pretty much seemed to be added in.
I'm not sure if I said on the podcast, but yeah, it was...
Did.
Really? Well, I'll just say this quickly. It was 20 minutes longer, but I can only tell you one or two quick things that I noticed that were different about it. Beyond that, it's like, it was longer. I really can't place it though.
Yeah, there's just some versions out there that there's some director's cuts that like a director's cut. The other could kind of go three ways. It's either one that's like that version's the definitive version. Why would you watch the other one after this?
Yeah.
Two, it's like it adds some things, but it doesn't really take away. I mean, like you can still watch the theatrical one. It's not a really big deal. Mm-hmm. It's just like it adds just a little bit more. And then there's three. It's just like just kind of there's some stuff in it.
Just for the sake of making money, really.
Yeah.
All right, so
let's go to number 3.
Which number 3? A lot of people are going to say, "Why the fuck would you choose that?" You guys,
because this movie's way better than other movies.
And it actually went to this didn't go to theaters, but it was really if they made this live action, it could go to theaters no problem.
Well, this list generally isn't about movies that just go to theaters because nowadays, I mean, only like half the movies out there.
Video on demand and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many movies that they premiere on TV nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Online too.
They premiere online, you know what I mean? Like some of them just come straight to DVD, and like straight to DVD is like it's not a bad term. Like back in the day, like 10 years ago, it's like straight to DVD was kind of like almost like you don't want to watch that straight to DVD movie there. That's a C grade movie.
The DC straight to DVD movies are usually pretty good.
No, the DC
80% of 90% of the time they're awesome.
I don't even know if I've even watched a bad one before.
Well, you said it's not bad, but you didn't. Gotham Knight wasn't that amazing.
Oh yeah, no, Gotham Knight. That's the only one that once again that just comes across as like it almost feels like it's something made for people that aren't Batman fans. But
Green Lantern Emerald Knight wasn't horrible, but it wasn't that amazing either. So
I really like
First Flight was really good.
First Flight was amazing.
Yeah,
really. If they just would have done that with the Ryan Reynolds movie, they would have made $1 million.
Yeah, made that live action? That would have been like the better one. Yeah.
When I say $1 million, let's say a lot more. It's not like fucking 1920s. They would have made $1 million. Yeah, we made $1 million, and now we're in the fucking hole. No, I mean they would have just made like ton. If you just would have made them like that, those DC animated ones, and that's why we get to this. Like DC animated, I don't think we even mentioned what we were talking about.
Oh yeah, Dark Knight Returns
Part 1. That movie was fucking awesome. I loved it. One of the best comic books out there. It's one of those ones like if you have to own 5 comic books, that should be one of the main ones you have.
Yeah. And this movie here's what we're going to complain about for a second.
The biggest complaint,
they took out his inner monologue, which the inner monologue really made that book really good. But they still managed to focus on everything else about it that made it so awesome. And it's just an all around. I mean, you could show this to someone who doesn't like Batman and say, like, oh, Batman, it's a kid's thing, and just show them this, like, and they'll say, oh, that was actually pretty good.
Yeah, no, and this one was just really like the only like complaint is the inner monologue, and it's one of those ones, but just looking at everything else they put into it, it's just full on amazing.
I can't wait for the second part.
The second one I just really can't wait for, because that's really where the book gets even better.
That's where he fights Superman. That's where he fights Joker. So this one all by itself, I mean, this one he goes against Harvey Dent briefly, and then goes against the mutant leader. Mm-hmm. Just an all around great book. A lot to say. The second one, I'm wondering if they're going to bring Reagan into it. They got to bring Reagan into it.
Well, I look at it this way: if they could bring Nixon into the Watchmen movie, because you sort of sit there and you watch. I was watching the Watchmen again the other day, and I was like, it is kind of amazing. I mean, I understand that book they can do it, but like when you're watching a movie, I'm like, wow, they can make it. Warner Brothers will, put out a movie where Nixon's just like, I mean, nobody really likes Nixon, I think, this day and age too, but still, he is still an American president. You still think some people will be like, well, we probably shouldn't just dig that hole any deeper.
Well, it's written by a British man, so.
Yeah. So I think they could put Reagan, even though I know Reagan's looked upon, like some people Reagan's either looked upon as like one of the worst presidents or one of the best presidents. That's how people always look at him.
I don't think he's one of the worst, but I don't think he's the best either.
No, I always looked at him as like, I never looked at him as a very good president. He's just a nice figurehead, is what I've always looked at him as. He just didn't get a lot of things done that were important. He focused more on like, how can I make a lot of money and help out my buddies.
Yeah.
And build a fucking Star Wars laser defense system.
And then there was also, what was the other one that I thought was pretty funny? There's the he wanted like Jimmy Carter had solar panels installed onto the White House. I love this story. He's like, we're Americans, we don't need to conserve energy, so it's almost, you imagine.
Well, yeah, like Jimmy Carter put all these nice solar panels on top of the White House. The second Reagan was in there, he tore them all off, and I just picture Reagan up there by himself with a fucking hammer, ripping them off himself.
Fucking hippies.
Solar power, you faggots.
That's actually more of like a fucking like Nixon. Probably like, what's a good Reagan? Like, oh, those stupid hippies. Kind of like, there you go. Yeah, something like that. He talks kind of like an old grandpa.
I still think the movie that would be awesome though is that Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. But like, for the good is Jimmy Carter. The bad is Ronald Reagan, and the ugly is Richard Nixon.
Why not?
I think that'd just be hilarious.
I'd be down to check that out.
But no, Dark Knight Returns though, I just thought that was fantastic. I've watched it a handful of times. Every single time I like it just as much, if not more. And it's probably one of the best Batman movies. I don't know, like out of all the Batman movies, I'd probably say that's top 5 for sure.
I'd say so.
Because
I'd say
the ones I like a lot is like I like that one. I like Under the Hood. I like Mask of the Phantasm.
You primarily like most of the animated stuff. I mean, I like all the animated stuff too.
It's like, I appreciate the live action ones. For I mean, like this is live action. This is what you can do in it. But I don't think they compare to the animated ones. Just because the animated ones are like, this is Batman. This is Batman as it gets. And I don't know. I also really like Batman Begins. That's my favorite one of all the probably live action ones.
Oh, the Nolan ones. I'm kind of like on Begins and Dark Knight are probably on par. Dark Knight Rises is my least favorite, but I still really like that movie. Now we're moving on to our number 2, which a lot of people thought this was probably going to be our number 1. But
Django Unchained.
Django Unchained, which we kind of talked about this on the last podcast with Marley.
Is that the last podcast, really?
I believe Django Unchained was our last one.
Well, yeah, we talked about this quite a bit, so we can just say Quentin Tarantino, I felt like he really stepped up the game on this one, and I would say this is one of the best Quentin Tarantino movies out there. And if somebody told me that, like, hey, this is the best Quentin Tarantino ever, I would say, you know what, that's true. I could agree with that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I like Pulp Fiction probably the most, but that's just me. But personally, if somebody said it, it's kind of like...
Every once in a while you hear someone say, Death Proof's my favorite. I'm like, are you fucking serious? But
are you fucking... Yeah. You better really like cars. Please tell me you're a car enthusiast. Please tell me you're not just really into, like, great stories. I mean, like, that first one's like, it's got, that first chapter is really good. If you just really chop that movie into, like, a 20 or 30-minute movie, whatever that beginning part is, like, that part's amazing. The second part's just one of those ones, like, yeah, you get really cool car chases, but the characters are all annoying, just about.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Except for Mary Elizabeth Winstead, but she gets dropped off right in the beginning, so you don't really get to see her anyways. I just think the other 3 are annoying. And then Kurt Russell dies. That makes me angry.
Yeah. But Django Unchained, though,
really good.
He really steps up the game, really does something different. He's almost saying, like, this is not so much related to, like, what makes this movie great. Because we already talked on the last podcast. Go listen to that real quick. But, actually, it's not quick. It's actually fairly long. But,
yeah, pause this and go over there.
Open up a second window if you were watching this on YouTube. No. Django Unchained, though, I mean, he said that he actually wants to make this part the second part of a trilogy. He's doing like alternate history. And the first one obviously being Inglourious Bastards, this one being Django Unchained. Third one, I'm kind of curious to see what happens. I think he should do something else, but it's Quentin Tarantino, so I'll go see whatever he does.
Sci-fi.
He wants to do. He doesn't have to do sci-fi.
No, it just sounds cool.
It just sounds like. I mean, I know I said sci-fi. I'd like to see that.
You know, Quentin Tarantino could make a cool sci-fi if it was like. Not this, like it was like like adaptation, but like a Cowboy Bebop style, kind of like that, kind of like future gritty, but it still has a lot of like kind of like westerny kind of past kind of ness to it.
That's what when I watch Cowboy Bebop, I kind of think if Quentin Tarantino made a sci-fi,
because that's how Cowboy Bebop.
And it was fairly PG-13, you know.
Yeah,
but
I mean, like something like in that sort of sense, I think he would do a really good job at something like that.
Yeah.
Like step away from more like the Blade Runner style and go more of like a Cowboy Bebop style.
That's what I think he would come out with, and I'd like to see that. But I'll see whatever he puts out there, and I'll probably see this if he makes it. Who knows? Sometimes he talks about something and he never comes out with it. But he said he wants to make a movie called Killer Crow, which that's about. He says it takes place during World War II, near the end of the war, and it's about. And it just sounds kind of too similar to Django Unchained. It's about a unit of black officers who get screwed over by a bigger section of the United States military. So they go rogue and start killing off members of the unit that killed them, that left them for dead, more or less. Which that sounds cool, but at the same time,
cool. I think it sounds a little too much of a mix between Django Unchained and Inglourious Bastards.
And he said that originally this was going to be one of the chapters for Inglourious Bastards, but Inglourious Bastards was already so long. He's like, I'm just going to make this its own movie. And he said the Inglourious Bastards actually appear...
Cool just to have a chapter. The chapter actually has absolutely nothing to do with the entire rest of the movie. It's just this really cool, like, 20-minute scene.
Yeah.
But it has nothing to do. It's just everything else the movie ties together. Not this one chapter, though.
Yeah. In this one, it's like, he says the Inglourious Bastards come in this movie, he said.
That'd be kind of cool, though.
That'd be cool.
It still sounds like a really cool idea.
It just sounds a little too similar to Django Unchained. That's all, you know what I mean? I mean, I'd see it regardless, whatever he makes.
I'd see it regardless, and probably regardless, it'd still be probably an extremely good movie.
But it just sounds kind of like, you already did a World War II film, and this sounds a lot like Django Unchained. But whatever, if you come out with it, I'll see it.
Yeah. So. Well, because the main thing about Quentin Tarantino, when you really like put all his movies in a row, excluding kind of his first like handful of movies, I'm gonna say first handful of screenplays. Most of his movies always seem to go in like a different direction just about each time. Because the first ones you can kind of say they're all kind of similar. And they're like similar style. Like Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, True Romance, Natural Born Killers. Those ones all kind of seem all kind of like...
I think Natural Born Killers is kind of different.
Well, I think that was kind of different just because like the Oliver Stone I think throws in that kind of trippiness. But they're all just like that style. They all kind of feel in that kind of similar style. Mm-hmm. But then he gets to like... Jackie Brown. That one's a bit different. From Dusk Till Dawn's obviously way different. And then you get Kill Bill, Death Proof, and so on.
I read an article somewhere that they're saying that there's almost kind of going over the Quentin Tarantino timeline and what movies take place where and how it works. And there's like actually two separate universes within this universe. Like there's the movies that they watch. There's like the movies that actually take place in the Quentin Tarantino universe is like Inglourious Bastards. I'm assuming Django Unchained's in there. Then Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, and Jackie Brown. And then the movies that are actually not really part of that universe, but it's like the movies they watch in that one would be like From Dusk Till Dawn, Death Proof, Kill Bill, because there's little things that link all those movies together, like Earl McGraw being in those movies, and also just the over amount of just violence and all that, because like in just weird things. Like whoever wrote this article, I mean, I'm not sure if it's true, but whoever wrote this article really looked deep into this shit because the death of Hitler took place in a movie theater. So violence and history, like movies, is a big part of this. Like universes, like history, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
And then like they bring in the whole aspect. The producer from True Romance was like the great grandson or something to Eli Roth's character from Inglourious Bastards, which. That guy probably made his grandfather very, like, probably unhappy right there. One being, like, one of the coolest characters in Inglourious Bastards, one of, like, the douchiest, just Hollywood producers.
But, that's a lot of insight to the Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's true. That just seemed kind of interesting. But anyway, so, moving past Django Unchained, our number one movie of the year, Seven Psychopaths.
Yep, and this is the Lost Podcast episode with 7 Psychopaths.
We had a great podcast where at the very beginning was Cloud Atlas. I just summed it up quickly. Then we went on to 7 Psychopaths and talked a lot about it and how much we love this movie, what made it great. We quickly summed it up on the George Lucas getting sold off by Disney. But 7 Psychopaths, fucking phenomenal movie.
No, this was just fantastic. You know, it was an action movie, it was a comedy, and it was a drama, all bundled into one. Mm-hmm. And just fantastic characters. You know, it was like a writer's movie, really, when it gets down to it.
That's ultimately what this movie's about, is writing. Mm-hmm. And also, something I really like, because Colin Farrell, he's a writer, and he wants to do very different things, but he wants to do things that are so different, they just sound fucking stupid. Like, how are you going to pull that off? Like, I'm still figuring that out. But yet, by the end of the movie, though, people give him suggestions, and the movie pans out and inspires them. In the movie itself, it's almost kind of like as if somebody, I mean, people will complain about this, but I think it's kind of interesting. It's almost as if, like, I mean, because, you know, as a writer, there are some moments you think of something like, oh, this is amazing, I should do that, and you quickly, like, jam that idea out. You're like, maybe I should, I'll go back real quick, you know what I mean? And it's almost kind of like the movie's constantly rewriting itself, because things will go in one direction, then it suddenly flips a bitch on you. It does something you totally don't expect, and goes the other direction, you know? So. And
then this actually works really well for our Quentin Tarantino discussion, because this movie almost feels like it's a guy writing a story in a similar way of like those like Quentin Tarantino style movies, and how they've kind of come since then.
Well, this movie is definitely kind of like this movie wouldn't have been made if Quentin Tarantino didn't get into the film industry. But this is this movie is apparently based off a play too.
Is it really?
Yeah, the dude wrote a play, and then he said, "Well, I'm going to make this into a movie now."
That's cool.
Yeah, but this movie right here, it is very much of like what you just said. It's almost kind of like a critique of just like guys with guns, badass movies, a lot of gangsters, all that kind of shit.
No women in the movies whatsoever, really, and if there is, like...
And they even make a joke. There's a part, because like, the quick sum up of the movie is Colin Farrell's a writer. His friend, played by Sam Rockwell, is a guy who steals dogs, and then, you know, like, steals dogs from rich people, and they're all freaked out, like, oh my god, what happened to my dog? And he brings them back, and they get paid $200. Him and Christopher Walken do this, and Christopher Walken's doing this, and Christopher Walken is getting, getting money for his wife's cancer treatment. So, as this goes on, they end up stealing the dog of Woody Harrelson, who's a psychotic mafia guy. Mobster. I guess would be the correct term for that. You're the mafia guy! Yeah, no, mobster. And it goes from there, and Colin Farrell just gets mixed up into all this, and it's just, just totally great movie, a lot of dark comedy, and there's a line where, you know, while they're doing this, he's actually trying to think up a script, which, in all honesty, this is my one critique. If all this shit was going on, I probably wouldn't be thinking about my script, really, at the time. But, you know.
No, I could see where you'd be thinking of a script if all this was going on.
Really?
Yeah, well, where's the best influence for scripts?
Live. I think it would be after the point, though. I think once you actually got out of the shit, you'd be thinking more about it. But,
I don't know.
It's
if
a
you're
movie,
a writer, you're mostly always thinking, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess I've never been in that situation, so I can't really say. But anyway, this movie right here, though. So, as the movie goes on, he has a story that he's constantly working on, and he has this idea that he's trying to build up, and people are kind of adding to it and helping him out. And there's a part where Sam Rockwell says like the way the movie should end. And what should happen is, you know, he's almost kind of planning out like what's going to happen, how they're going to go against Woody Harrelson at the end of the movie. It's just this over the top ridiculous shootout,
like a John Woo shootout almost.
Yeah, and it's just hilarious. And then he says like earlier in the movie, Colin Farrell's girlfriend broke up with him. He says, and at this point, your girlfriend comes back, and it's just, you don't actually hear them talk, and it's just them in the screen with Sam Rockwell voicing over him. Yeah, and he's just like, oh my god, please. Like, it's pouring rain, you see her tits through her shirt. It's like, oh my god, I'm sorry, I was such a fucking bitch, please take me back. Then she gets shot up, goes down. He says, remember, the animals can't die, but the woman can. Moving on, so...
Well, those movies, like, there's really, like, very few women characters in it, too, almost kind of like a Reservoir Dogs thing.
Yeah, and I think it's almost kind of making fun of that, because actually, all the women in this movie die.
Mm-hmm. All the women die in this one.
Yeah, so it is very much kind of like, I think it's almost like a critique in that, almost kind of like making fun of
that bromance.
That over-the-top bromance type action movie, yeah. Or just more than anything, not so much making fun of Quentin Tarantino movies, but more movies that rip off Quentin Tarantino is kind of seeing what it's like critiquing.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't think it's necessarily like critiquing it like in a bad way, like saying like this is the bad stuff I'm doing. I just think it's just like it's a contemplate between writing a very artsy script and a very entertainmentful script.
I'm trying to like find that balance.
And you gotta find that right balance in it, because that's what I would say is like there's two ways. There's either entertainment and there's art or artsy or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And you don't want to lean too far on either side, because if you go too far artsy, then you get a movie that doesn't make any sense and it's kind of stupid. And if you go too far entertainment, then you just get like a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah.
You know, but if you get that center ground, you get a Steven Spielberg movie.
Yeah. And this, like, so I really liked Christopher Walken's character in the movie.
Christopher Walken was fantastic
because
in it.
he was kind of like because the thing is, with him, he's a pacifist, yet he's not scared of anything. He's a pacifist, but he's not overly nice. Mm-hmm. And that's what's kind of cool about him, because like he'll mentally mind fuck you is what he'll do. Like there's a part where Woody Harrelson goes and, spoilers, kills his wife, and instead of just going after him with like a gun and just trying to bring him down, he mentally mind fucks him. Which what he does is he goes past him. He doesn't know what he looks like. So he's wearing most of the movie he's wearing this little ascot thing. Mm-hmm. And they explain how he gets this later, but he moves the ascot. He's like, "Oh, it's a nice ascot. Oh, you like it? You could have it." Like, I don't need it. No, you could have it. He takes it off and just has like the scar down his neck with all the stitches, and it's just the most fucked up looking scar.
Well, it's not stitches anymore.
Well, didn't it still have like some stitches marks? It had stitch marks on it still, didn't it?
Well, yeah.
Had stitch marks, but yeah.
It would have stitches in it.
Well, you know what I fucking
took these out.
You know what I fucking mean. Okay, anyway. So he has these like stitch marks in it. And then he pants it off, like, what the fuck? And he just totally mind fucks him. And he almost kind of uses all that to his advantage. He'll do weird things like that to get back at people that just like mentally scar him. And I just think that's pretty cool.
No, it has really strong characters in it. And then the other character that's really cool is like, what's that? Tom Waits, isn't it, too, the singer?
Tom Waits was good in the movie.
And he was fantastic in it, too. But just the characters are so deep and strong in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Plus, at the very end, when he comes up with the idea for like the Buddhist like assassin, that whole thing at the end, which that makes no sense when you see the movie.
Tom Waits is really just this guy, like he's just like they put an ad in the paper, or Sam Rockwell does, so he can get like some weird people to come in and give story ideas. And Tom Waits is one of the people that answers that ad.
And he's just like, he's a guy just walks in, he's always petting a white rabbit.
Yeah.
Tom Waits is even though he's only in like 2 scenes, he's one of the best parts of this movie. Yeah. And this movie gets very violent. Not just like, oh, look, there's some blood displayed against the wall. Like, extremely violent parts. There's a part where there's a Tom Waits' character when he was younger. Him and his wife were going around the country and going after serial killers. And there's a part where they think they found the Zodiac killer. And they're not really sure if it really is a Zodiac killer or if they just picked the wrong house. Because it says, like, who the murderer was every single time they pull up and find him. And they pull up, it says Zodiac Killer. You just see this nice, hippie-looking guy petting a rabbit, so you don't know if it was just, there's some, like, misinformation, or if the guy, you know. So they end up sticking 2 knives into his hand down to a table. And they have, like, some really nice song over it, too. It's not like, you know, it's not all scary, which adds to the creep factor of it. And they set him on fire, and they show him just burning with it, like, you know, to this table.
Yeah.
And later, like, Tom Waits is just thinking about it. You just sit back and just see this burnt hippie corpse behind him, just like it's not a big deal.
No, yeah, that movie, I don't know, just the mix of being dark comedy, action, a little bit of drama, I don't know, it was fantastic. Everything about that movie, I can't complain about anything really in it.
I love that movie, yeah, so that's one I definitely want to get when it comes out. So,
which that's going to be coming out pretty soon, then.
Yeah. Where are we at right now?
We're at 1 hour and 2 minutes. So probably we could sum this up right now. That was our top 10 list. Now is our honorable mentions.
We'll just jam these out. All right. One honorable mention, Lawless.
Lawless, that was a pretty darn good one. I like that quite a bit, even though
Shia
LaBeouf still kind of annoying, and he's kind of the main root of all problems in the movie. But I thought he did a lot better. His acting went up a little bit in that movie.
I'm with you there. Avengers.
Avengers was that was a good one. I don't think it was nearly as good as a lot of other movies, but it was definitely the best. It's the best one that Marvel Studio has done so far.
And I think it's definitely a step for superhero films.
It's like, yeah, Robert Downey Jr. is still pretty annoying, and the chick that plays Black Widow is horrible, but
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson. But everybody else though was really good. Captain America, fantastic. Chris Hemsworth is Thor.
You don't like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man?
I don't like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr. is just annoying nowadays. He is a great actor. He has the Alec Baldwin syndrome, where like he just one day woke up and said, "I'm funny," and everybody has to love me. And I don't know. I don't really like. I like Alec Baldwin in Saving Private Ryan Jr. when they're doing dramas like Chaplin. Fantastic movie.
I think Robert Downey Jr. is actually pretty good. I just think that the thing is,
I
think they force too much comedy.
Well, yeah, I think it's like if you took away the comedy element, because in the comics, or at least in the older comics, because I don't really know what Iron Man's done in the last like 10 years, but in the older comics, Iron Man was a lot serious character, and he had like more of like emotional problems.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, like I don't know if that's like I don't know where they pulled that from, but I just don't like how he's just like witty and like like every like 2 seconds, and it's just it's kind of annoying. But everybody else does a fantastic job.
I like that movie a lot. That was pretty good. Not enough is the other ones, but I liked it.
Yeah.
And then here another one we got, which is it's not on the list, but I just not remembered. Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, Amazing Spider-Man. Not nearly as good as this is one of the movies. If there was never any other Spider-Man movies, this wouldn't actually be a really good movie. But since there is a bunch of other Spider-Man, and you've seen the Spider-Man story, it's like Batman's story. It's almost like how many times can you tell his origin story? It's like it feels like Spider-Man, Batman, Superman. Everybody knows that story, or you should. You're not American if you don't know those stories.
I think the whole Uncle Ben thing could have been wrapped up in like about 10 minutes. But it takes
Martin Sheen as Uncle Ben though, pretty badass.
Martin Sheen as Uncle Ben was pretty cool. It felt like some of the stuff could have happened a little quicker in that.
No, it's kind of a slow movie.
It was still a good film though.
But yeah, it's still a good one.
Like if Sam Raimi's Spider-Man never happened, I think this would be perfect.
I think it'd be a lot better. Yeah, this would be a perfect one.
I don't mean to hold it against it, but really you're watching this the whole time, just like, okay, get shot and get bitten by the spider.
Yeah, we know. But I will say this, like,
and there was some interesting.
I think the guy who played the Spider-Man much better. I mean,
I like the lizard.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
It's cool they brought in Gwen Stacy, Emma Stone.
Gwen Stacy. I just thought the Spider-Man was better because, like, the one thing that always bothered me about kind of like the Sam Raimi ones is I don't like when Spider-Man's made out to be like, I'm nerdy. Because to me, it's like, I guess because I grew up mainly watching the animated show, and in that one, Spider-Man's more like, he's more just like a regular guy. It's like, I just happen to know all this stuff. And I just happen to be a good scientist. You know, but it's not like he's like, I have no friends.
There are moments, though, where he's not like that, but he almost is like, he's like a little socially awkward. It's like, well, see, fucking spit it out, you know?
Yeah.
Where he'd be like talking to Gwen Stacy, he's trying to find the right words.
Like, it's like in the animated series one, it's just like, he's more just like, I don't know, I just like when it's like, because that's the problem I always have Spider-Man sometimes he's just too fucking nerdy. And it's just like, you just want Wolverine to come over and just slap him around, fucking get him drunk.
Listen, bub. Yeah.
Have him smoke cigars. Oh yeah, by the way, you don't got a healing factor. You just got cancer.
But I had cancer 10 times by now.
But other than that, though, that made Spider-Man, it was very enjoyable. I would say that, if anything.
Yeah. And then we got Argo.
Now, this is one...
That was a really good movie. This almost made the list.
This, like, it just borderline... To me, it's, like, right next to Looper, pretty much. Like, it almost could be, like, number 10, and Looper could be number 11, and I'd still be fine. It doesn't really make a difference.
Just one has to go on there, one can't.
One just has to go on there and stuff. I guess I think the thing about Looper just felt a little bit more...
well-paced.
Well-paced and a little bit more, I guess, sort of just like... I guess it just felt like a new idea. Yeah, different, original. When I say original, it makes it sound like, let's just feel more original. It just makes you feel like a dick. I don't want to use that word. I wanted to try to use any other word. But no.
It's just as good as Looper, really.
No, Argo's just as good, if not even almost strangely enough better. Now that we fucking say it, it's like, that was pretty darn good. Ben Affleck really went out of his way. And I liked how, like, it kind of, like... When there's like the John Goodman scenes, I just loved how it was like almost like a comedy at that point.
The John Goodman, the other guy, I forgot the actor's name, but
I feel bad right now.
Yeah, we forget a lot of shit on this show. It's okay, but they really could have their own movie because those two together were just hilarious.
No, it was hilarious, and I thought the story concept was awesome. I like how it's based off a true story. I always like that. Set in the 70s, I like period pieces. Pretty much all good there.
You didn't see this one, but I did. Ted, which that was kind of one of those things. I'm not sure about it. I don't like Family Guy as much as I used to. Family Guy's all right.
Well, Family Guy, it's like I liked it when I was like 10 years old and when it first came out, like the first like couple seasons. And those seasons are still pretty good.
And there's still some funny episodes here today.
Well, yeah, Family Guy, it's still funny, but to me, it almost comes across as like
they don't try.
Well, just when I was watching Family Guy and even American Dad, like recently, when I say recently, in like the last like 8 months ago or something like that. To me, it just comes across as purely entertainment. When I say in that gap between artsy and entertainment, it is purely on the entertainment side as far as it possibly can go. I almost don't feel like you're walking out with too much extra knowledge except for maybe a little bit of pop culture. But it's not like South Park where every episode you walk away learning something new, or even Simpsons where you get some good moral values, or King of the Hill is just like that too. Family Guy just seems like you're only there for pleasure, and that's it.
And that can be fine.
And that, I mean, that'd be fine like every once in a while, but I guess this was once... So sometimes it's like I want more out of my comedy.
But Ted actually did have more in the comedy, and Ted was one.
Mark Wahlberg. It's got Marky Mark.
It's got Marky Mark, and it's got Mila Kunis.
Did you know that Marky Mark has his own like workout supplements now?
Doesn't surprise me. What's it called?
It's called Marked.
Marked.
I really wish it was called Marky Marked.
Marky Mark.
But it's kind of cool though. Like when somebody told me that, I was like, "That is fucking awesome." I wish.
What are the flavors? Good vibrations.
I have no idea what his flavors are. They're just regular ones, like Blue Raz.
Blue rat, like RAZ.
Probably. I don't know. I can't remember. Probably like blue raspberry, but still. Like, well, lots of those like supplements are always sold. They really sold off like it's like 90s ads. Really, just like get extreme pump now, face.
While you listen to Alice in Chains, go surfboard. You know,
and punch that nerd.
He fucking had it coming.
You know that's where you started out before reading comic books and watching Superman. And one day you said, "I'm gonna be Superman."
Get marked!
Yeah.
Anyway, then we go to...
I wish we were sponsored by Marky Mark. That'd be awesome. He probably wouldn't let us say Marky Mark if we were sponsored by him.
Stop saying it, we might be able to... He holds a grudge against the Marky Mark thing.
I just think it's a cool name.
No, it is. He just hates that whole period, apparently.
Like I don't really care about the music part and the weird, like, you know, pulling his pants down thing.
Come on, feel it!
I just think the name Marky Mark is cool. It's like one of those ones that could sound kind of gay at the same time, but it's kind of cool.
I'll post with his hands just down his fucking hands. Ted. Yeah, oh, right, the fucking movie, right. All right, now the movie, I actually thought it was pretty good. There's some moments where you could see kind of like, because Seth MacFarlane, I believe he is a good writer, but how much can you write those same characters over and over in Family Guy? Mm-hmm. This is something fresh and different from him. And he also did, it very much had his signature and certain lines and certain that kind of pacing that Family Guy has. Yet that wasn't restricted to like Family Guy style. You didn't have the random cutaways. The big thing about Family Guy is it has the random cutaways. This doesn't really have that. This has some random jokes in it, but it's usually it's more than anything dialogue based, and it's pretty well done. And the part of the trailer, they almost advertised it like, we got to get my teddy bear friend a job, or it's not so much about that. It's actually more about Marky Mark trying to balance his relationship between his best friend and his girlfriend. And within that, you actually do get morals, and there actually are moments in the movie where you actually kind of feel for the characters, you know what I mean? You actually feel for them. And then there's also a part, the last 15 minutes of the movie actually kind of flips you on your back for a second, because what happens is it stops. There's still jokes. The bear is still spinning out funny one-liners here and there, but it almost takes itself very seriously and becomes kind of like, I don't want to spoil it because you haven't seen it.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
We spoiled our shit on here, but you haven't seen it, so. But it kind of goes in another direction you wouldn't expect it to go.
That's cool.
And
I always thought the concept idea of it is a pretty cool idea because one, that's something that nobody's ever done. Really.
Generally, he said the main idea.
Like a Jim Henson movie, but like, what if like everything was just full on like in a real world?
Well, generally, what happens is he said one of the main inspirations is like you see these kid movies where the kid gets best friends with some inanimate object or a talking dog or something. He says like, but they never focus what happens when the kids grow up. Yeah. And that's kind of what this movie is. It's kind of like after those years of just having like, oh yeah, we're best friends.
Yeah.
And what happens when they grow up, and that's kind of the main concept of this movie. You can see that in it. Cool. So I suggest Ted.
What's our next one?
Well, we don't have to. I know we don't really.
We did.
I said Cabin in the Woods. I know you didn't like that one. I liked Cabin in the Woods.
Well, it's like I liked about half that movie. That's how I felt about that movie. It was like
you didn't like the first half. You liked the second half.
I like the end. I like the end a lot, and then I liked all like the guys in like the control room or whatever you call it.
Yeah,
like, I thought that was really funny. I guess just when you watch a lot of horror movies, it's just one of those ones. The more you see of something, the more like picky you get. Sadly enough. Yeah.
Then you liked Resident Evil.
And then Resident Evil, I mainly say this one just for the fact it sounds weird to be this movie be on a top like list, but I just think I was actually really impressed with just like, oh, they actually finally came back and made. The one that came out previous actually was not too bad. It wasn't amazing, but it was good, enjoyable. It's in the entertainment level.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just thought that this one was actually a pretty good movie, and I thought that for once the balance was a little bit better. They put a little bit more characters in from the game, but the action was good. The story seemed more fresh. I don't know. It was impressive, I have to say, for when I was surprised in a sense.
And I guess that's all of our honorable mentions.
But that's all our honorable mentions. There's all the other movies out there that we just kind of forget that were good, but Not nearly as good.
And for those of you out there like, well, why didn't you talk about Moonrise Kingdom or Indie Game? We couldn't see all the movies. We don't get a lot of movies coming up
You
here.
didn't need to mention that, but that's okay.
What?
Well, everybody's
We didn't
list is
see
different.
those. Well, I know, but I mean, there's some movies out there that like, because everyone tells me I got to see Moonrise Kingdom, and I haven't seen that. But I think there's some people out there that just, I mean, there's some movies out there we just didn't get around to seeing. That's all it is.
Yeah, that movie's on DVD now, though.
It is on DVD. I'll have to check that out.
I think it came out like a couple months ago.
Okay.
But yeah. So I think that's a good place to cut it off at.
All right, and we guys, if you have any suggestions for things you want us to talk about or questions or anything like that, just email us
At oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Make sure to check out Drunk Batman episode 4 at YouTube. And you can find all this good stuff at oldmanorange.com, the center place for everything. Till then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
We will see you some other time.
Bye.